Good afternoon. This is Sociology Clara. I wanted to talk to you today about a book, Imagined Communities by Benedict Anderson. And so I'm starting this new thing. I have to write this dissertation. So I'm thinking through some old ideas. This book has been on my shelf for quite a long time, and it's been a very long time since I've picked it up. So I picked it up this afternoon. I think the best way to write is to read. And so I was reading through the first couple of chapters, skimming through. And I was reminded by this idea that Benedict Anderson has. Um, he says that we create communities by sort of thinking them into existence. And one of the ways that we do this is by reading a newspaper. If I read a newspaper every morning, which no one does anymore, right? But there was a time in the late 90s where everybody still read the same newspaper every morning, or perhaps one of three newspapers, right? Um, maybe a local newspaper. In my lifetime, we certainly had newspapers, and we would all read it. And Anderson argues that by reading the same content, we would imagine ourselves to be in community together. This is important time-wise because after World War II, we developed this concept of the nation state, right? This idea that a political grouping was also kind of a social grouping. So you would have this official designation of the state, and then this sort of cultural designation of a nation, and they would be one unit, the nation state. But Anderson argues that we develop these imagined communities by sharing sort of common connections, especially through print media. He mentions novels in here. Again, I'm still thinking through the first couple of chapters. But it struck me as I was reading this, right? What's happening on YouTube is wildly different, right? It's not that I have to imagine that you exist for many people. I can consume content such as PBK's morning video every day. And I know people who also in real life consume this same content. I can be in conversation with them on the Discord server, or I can talk to them in the hive mind of another video later, even in the same day, or in the comments section. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, if the way that we form a national identity is through shared media, and now we don't have that anymore, what's happening, right? Like, how do we find these shared cultural connections? And then I'm also thinking, though, if we no longer have to imagine community, does that make these online connections with people who I actually see almost face to face more real? And so I don't know. I just thought it would be really fun to engage with Anderson in this way and to think about the imagined community. And I wish I had more to share, but maybe there will be more to come as I sort of develop the theory behind this project.